These people.
This new law gives Mark Carney's cabinet the power to greenlight the use of any pesticide, even a pesticide that Health Canada has decided is unsafe or has already banned. The Bloc Québécois and the NDP say the changes put Canadians' health and the environment at risk. Science, environment, and health groups say the measures mark the largest overhaul of Canada's pesticide rules in a generation.
Essentially what it does is it gives Cabinet broader authority to override the Health Minister and to permit the use of any pesticide, even if it's been found to have unacceptable environmental risks, on the grounds that there are economic security or food security concerns.
But the government says it will be transparent if it decides to authorize a pesticide. Ministers will only do it in exceptional circumstances and under specific conditions.
We would not use these measures and cannot use these measures if there are health hazards attached to them, and beyond that I would refer you to the Minister of Health.
But Health Minister Marjorie Michel would not provide CBC News an interview. Lobby records show the minister and her staff have met regularly with CropLife. That's the lobby group that represents the pesticide industry. She also recently spoke at one of CropLife's events, touting that she was the first health minister to do so. Her office defends that, saying it's her responsibility to consult with agricultural organizations. This new law gives Mark Carney...
Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rachakodash. That means all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, who is the Most High God, and His Son Yahushai, through the Holy Spirit, Rachakodash. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of GMS who rule well, who I learned this truth from, and salutations and blessings to you elect out there. So as you see, we're clearly in the end times, and nowhere to go but the kingdom, all right, or death, because there's no way out. I just seen this video, and hold on, right, you have the full article. Carney government passes law allowing authorization of banned pesticides. So it's not bad enough you got pesticides in your food. These fucking serpents, this old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, has once again created a law, a loophole, reframed it to allow the use of banned pesticides in your fucking food. The federal government has brought in major changes to how pesticides are regulated in Canada, granting Cabinet the power to authorize their use. Even pesticides Health Canada has deemed are unsafe. And Health Canada does a terrible job, just like the FDA in America, of governing your health. But for them to allow banned pesticides, you have to really take that in. I don't know what that's going to do to these GMO people. But brothers, we got to pray. The Most High is keeping us here. Yahweh Bashim Yahushai through the Holy Spirit. That's the only way we're out here breathing and talking right now, and doing these lessons and going on the highways and working. The new law will give Prime Minister Mark Carney's cabinet authority to greenlight any pesticides that ministers feel is in the interest of economic or national food security. Of course, there's the excuse, there's the cause. They just want to delete you people as fast as they can, man. You are being bombarded with chemtrails, fluoride, mercury, lead, all kinds of nanoparticles, and all kinds of graphene, all kinds of experimental things. Now they add this to the pot. Add this to the pot. Environment and health organizations, along with expert scientists from 13 universities, have denounced the legislation, saying it marks the largest overhaul of the country's pesticide rules in a generation. It's pretty outrageous. What you've got is cabinet overruling science, said Dr. Trevor Hancock, a public health doctor with the Canadian Association of Physicians for the Environment. We already have a pesticides regulatory system in place, and it's there to protect people and protect the environment. I don't think they've given any clear evidence as to why overruling that is good for Canadians. So, in case you didn't know, all right, let me see. So this is the human health risks Depending on the pesticide and exposure level, potential risks include skin and eye irritation, headaches, dizziness, nausea, and that's why you go get certain meat, it'll say raised without the use of hormones or pesticides, right? It'll say those certain things. Like I said, pesticides are already bad enough. We're reading the health hazards, right? Nervous system effects, hormonal endocrine disruption, reproductive and developmental problems, increased risk of certain cancers with long-term exposure to some chemicals, respiratory issues, especially among agricultural workers and applicators. Risks to children is tenfold. Children are generally more vulnerable because their bodies are still developing. Yeah. They consume more food and water relative to body weight. They often have more contact with soil and surfaces where residues may be present. Right? Of course, environmental issues. Some pesticides can kill beneficial insects such as bees and butterflies. Who gives a shit about the bees? When's the last time you seen a bee? It's already June. It's almost July. I ain't seen a bee. I think I seen a wasp, but I haven't seen a bee. But Esau doesn't care about that, right? Because he's he's an anti-human. He's anti-life. Okay, his journey and his purpose, his path is death, right? Harm birds, fish, and amphibians, contaminate soil and groundwater, persist in the environment for years, accumulating food chains. See? And again, why pesticides get banned. And these are the pesticides that they can enact and give to you people. A pesticide is usually banned or heavily restricted because evidence shows risks such as harm to human nervous system or brain development, which regular pesticides do that. But that means these pesticides are way stronger. Cancer risk, long-term exposure for some compounds, hormone and endocrine disruption, reproductive harm, environmental persistence. They don't break down easily, damage to pollinators and ecosystems. This man does not care about the earth or people. Okay, he is the son of perdition. He is meant to destroy and cut off nations, not a few, according to Isaiah 10 and 5. On down. Right? This man is anti-life. Okay, he doesn't care about the environment, his citizens, his subjects. Okay? This is Proverbs 12 and 7 AMP. The wicked are overthrown by their evil. Salakia. Proverbs 12 and 10. A righteous man has kind regard for the life of his animal, but even the compassion of the wicked is cruel. NLT, the godly care for their animals, but the wicked are always cruel. So even in his kindness, it's cruelty. Okay? Even when he's telling you, hey, there's food insecurity, so we're just gonna grow more food, but with harsher pesticides. But that means more food for you guys. It's poison. Right? It's poison. Right? There's food insecurity. Let's give GMOs. Let's create lab-grown meat and lab-grown veggies. And look, we're feeding people. That's his compassion, but it's cruelty because it's killing you from the inside. Okay, let's add fluoride to strengthen your teeth. That's cruelty. Let's feed cows corn. You know, right? That's cruelty, man. That's a that sleight of hand. You know, trickery. And this man's all about trickery. Okay, so anyway, I just seen this. I just had to make a video because this is crazy. I mean, this is just crazy, man. This is outright like Georgia Guidestone. We don't give a fuck about y'all. Anyway, Kahalal Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Shalom to the elect.